The bright lights of The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson washed across the stage as the audience clapped and laughed. It was the mid-1970s, and the legendary host Johnny Carson sat behind his desk with his famous grin. "Ladies and gentlemen," Carson said, leaning toward the microphone, "my next guest is a man whose name is already a legend in Hollywood, the Duke himself." The crowd erupted as John Wayne stepped onto the stage. Tall, broad-shouldered, and confident, Wayne waved his cowboy hat to the cheering audience before taking a seat beside Carson. Carson chuckled. "John, I hear you've been working with some interesting martial artists lately." Wayne smirked. "Well, Johnny, Hollywood's changing. These young fellas kick higher than my horse can." The audience laughed. Carson leaned back. "Speaking of martial artists, we have someone else backstage tonight. A man the world is talking about, Bruce Lee." The applause grew louder. Bruce Lee walked onto the stage with calm confidence. He bowed slightly to Carson and nodded respectfully to Wayne. Bruce was smaller than Wayne, but there was an intensity in his eyes that caught everyone's attention. Carson grinned. "Bruce, the Duke here says those kicks of yours are pretty impressive." Bruce smiled politely. "I only try to express myself honestly through movement." Wayne chuckled. "Well, I've seen a lot of fighting in westerns, son. Looks fancy, but I'm not sure how it works in real life." The audience murmured. Bruce kept smiling. "Sometimes what looks simple can be very powerful." Behind Wayne stood his large bodyguard, a mountain of a man who had been silently watching Bruce since he walked out. The bodyguard folded his arms, clearly unimpressed. Wayne noticed Bruce's calm confidence and joked loudly, "Hey, Frank, why don't you see if this kung fu stuff works?" The audience gasped slightly as the bodyguard stepped forward. Carson raised his eyebrows. "Now hold on, gentlemen, this is still a talk show." Bruce looked relaxed. "It's all right." The bodyguard suddenly grabbed Bruce's shoulder from behind, trying to show his strength. What happened next took less than a second. Bruce's body moved like lightning. With a quick twist of his wrist, Bruce slipped out of the grip. In the same motion, he redirected the bodyguard's balance, sending the massive man stumbling forward. A gentle but precise push dropped the giant onto one knee. The audience gasped, then erupted in cheers. Bruce stepped back calmly, hands relaxed at his sides. The bodyguard looked shocked, rubbing his wrist. Carson leaned forward, eyes wide. "Well, I think we just saw that answered." The audience roared with laughter and applause. Wayne stared for a moment, then slowly began to clap. "I'll be damned," Wayne said with a grin. "Son, that might be the fastest thing I've ever seen that didn't involve a horse." Bruce bowed slightly. Carson laughed. "Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Bruce Lee." The applause thundered through the studio as the camera zoomed out. Wayne leaned toward Bruce and said quietly, half smiling, "Maybe you should teach me that move." Bruce smiled back. "Only if you teach me how to ride like the Duke." The audience laughed again as the band played and Carson shook his head. "Folks," Carson said, "that might be the first time a bodyguard got out-tacted on my show." And for years afterward, people would talk about the night on The Tonight Show when Bruce Lee proved that speed, skill, and calm confidence could bring even the biggest man to his knees.